now tuned into the greatest.
The Run with Manny Wilson podcast.
The Run with Manny Wilson podcast.
The best sports podcast there is.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson, all the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. Man, I appreciate you tuning in to the first interactive sports podcast, a community that makes sure your voice is heard. So if you hear something you agree with, you disagree with, you like, you dislike, or even if you just want to outsmart me on something or share your opinion, give us a quick take, 219-413-9405. And of course, we'll play your take back on our next episode. And shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring this episode. Get $20 off your first ticket purchase when you use the promo code The Run Podcast. Now, this code can only be applied for first-time users on the mobile app or website. So I don't know about you, but the NBA season is still rolling strong right now. So there's plenty of games to go to. Go ahead, create that account, use that promo code, save yourself $20. I actually used it all the time. I mean, I try and recommend it to people that I know, all of that, who may not listen to sports stuff, but just even work with concerts and all of that stuff too. It works fine. Anyway, one quick announcement too before we move on. So a couple of different things. It was almost from Detroit to Chicago to DC to, it was almost another place. Your boy was about to be getting out of Chicago pretty soon, but that's not necessarily going to be the case anymore. It was just kind of a pivot. It was a decision that me and my lady came to, and it was a decision we were close to moving to DC, but it turns out a lot of trips and other stuff was gonna be more important for us. So we was like, let's take advantage of these trips. Let's go on these trips. Let's get it done. So I'll be here in Chicago still. Don't worry, Bears fans. You'll still get your noise. You'll still get the trash talk out of me and all of that stuff. So no worries on any of that stuff. But yeah, I'm still here, man. Also, too, another thing that I did want to announce. I really didn't do like a special rollout or anything. I didn't think it's kind of necessary, whatever. And maybe I still will, whatever. But, if you listen to the episode, then you just so happen to be the first to hear it and you be the first to know. But up until recently, so a little before the new year, the Run Podcast is officially a sports partner of Clutch Points. So Clutch Points, man, great media network, great people over there, hard workers. So we finally got a collaboration going on. We're working together. We're working hard. We're getting stuff taken care of. So just be on the lookout for that, man. And definitely, man, listen to the pod on Clutch Points network. You can go on their website. You can listen to the pod there if you want. Of course, man. So that's all the news. That's all the news. Other than that, I don't know why I felt like I needed to update y'all, especially maybe because if you listen all the time. I'm trying to go ahead and give you some information about myself, other than I like sports. But anyway, look, man. So let's go back to sports. It's always slightly uncomfortable sharing stuff about yourself, and I don't care how long I've been doing this. It's still mad uncomfortable. I don't care, and I think it's just because of the fact of like. I genuinely don't know who's listening. I try and tell you all the time, I'm still trying to figure out the audience of who's listening each time, who's downloading each time, who's liking all the videos. I really be trying to count down on it and see who's out here really, keeping task on me. But I don't know, man. And it ain't like it's a bunch of people either. I ain't gonna sit here and say, oh, they got millions and millions and millions of people out here keeping tabs on me. That is not what I'm saying at all, man. I'm still trying to grow, but I just think, for me, coming from a space where I had only 8 listeners in a podcast and only 9 listeners in a podcast, and now I'm finally being able to see that number grow more and more, it does just make me a little curious, like, who out there listening? I don't know this many family members. I ain't got that many friends. Who out there really listening? So I don't know. That's what I think about whenever I do look at the numbers and all that type of stuff. But I mean, hey man, if you do listen all the time, of course I appreciate it. Even if you don't listen all the time, if this just so happens to be an episode where you tune it in and you like, I'm gonna check them out. Hey, I still appreciate it. I always appreciate it. But look, man, I'm way off topic. Way off topic. This is not a I don't know. This is why. Let me go back to sports. Let me just go back to sports. Clean slate. Here we go. All right, so look, this is what we got to talk about because the wild card weekend is coming to an end. We got one final matchup with the Minnesota Vikings and the LA Rams happening later on tonight. Maybe you listened to this and you already watched that game, but what I want to talk to y'all about really is the Philadelphia Eagles and the Green Bay Packers game. So a lot of y'all know the Eagles won that game against the Packers to advance to the divisional round. They won 22-10. The score is going to tell you something different than what actually happened in the game. Personally, watching this game, I thought the game was a lot closer than the score reflected. It was a lot of striking chances that the Packers had to really make this an even closer game, but they just could not get it right. And the thing that bothered me about this game with the Eagles and the Packers is, am I missing something where the Eagles did not win this game? Because I see so much criticism and I see so much stuff about Jalen Hurts. And mind you, I'll be the first to admit Jalen Hurts is an overrated quarterback. I think Jalen Hurts is great. I think he does a lot of things well, but yet I think he is overrated because of the market he's in Philly. He has a strong arm, a big arm, but he's not a quarterback that's going to dominate you by picking you apart, throwing the ball every single week. That's just not his type of style. Again, good quarterback, but his main role is just to hand the ball to Saquon Barkley and keep control of the offense, make sure he's not turning the ball over. I think we can all agree on that. Again, great quarterback, but I don't understand why he's receiving so much criticism, why the Eagles are receiving so much criticism, because I think it's safe to say the media has overreacted in terms of the Green Bay Packers losing and the Philadelphia Eagles winning. We're hearing a lot of different blah, blah, blah about, the Eagles, they don't look good enough, or the Eagles, they may not be ready enough to continue to advance in the playoffs. And I think is like, did we miss something here? Did the Eagles lose this game? Did they, what happened in this game that I missed where I'm like, okay, well, the Eagles aren't good enough to win this game. And I understand, Hurts and the Eagles, they've been catching all of this scrutiny because people may say the offense played horrible. How could you say the Eagles deserve to win when the offense played that bad? A.J. Brown had only 10 catching yards and all of this blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I think those are people who are just mad the bet didn't hit. Let's be real. I mean, that takes a toll on a person's emotional well-being. If your bet's not hitting, I'd be pissed too. When my bets ain't hitting, damn it, just know I'm pissed. So I get it. But the thing is, I get the Eagles offense didn't play perfect, but you got to remember the Packers defense is not a trash defense. This was a team who was a top 5 defense in the Green Bay Packers. The Packers finished the season allowing the second least amount of yards in the NFC. So how could you possibly be mad at the Philadelphia Eagles for struggling against a solid defensive team? If you know they're good, of course it's going to be difficult to have your offense thriving against a top-tier defensive team in your conference? Are you kidding me? Where's all the nonsense coming from of Hurts has to be brilliant, Hurts has to throw for 200 and all of this? Whoa. Pump the brakes. Yeah, Jalen Hurts could have cleaned it up a little bit. He could have made some throws, let it fly, but who's to say that wouldn't have turned into an interception? I mean, there's two sides to every story, and I think the main thing people should be talking about is that the Packers has continued to do what they've done all season, and that's play mediocre and struggle on the offensive end. There's been so much focus on what the Packers haven't been able to do on the offensive end that people forget that the defense was actually pretty solid. Finishing second in the conference for defensive yards allowed? Are you kidding me? When did that become an easy thing to do? When did that become something that we overlook? And all of this controversy about the Eagles not being good, and it's like, how do you miss this key aspect of the Packers not being a solid defensive team? We've seen it on display in this matchup against the Eagles, where clearly the Packers look dominant at times on defense. They got to Jalen Hurts, forced him to roll on the outside, and forced him to either throw the ball away or just slide. That way he didn't have to take a big hit or anything. How did we just overlook the talent on the Packers defense when this has been a thing that's been keeping them afloat all year long? I don't get it. It's wild to me. And again, I think it just comes down to maybe some bets didn't hit and people are just pissed. Jalen Hurts didn't throw for 220 or Antonio or AJ Brown didn't have 50 or 70 receiving yards. Maybe this is what it was. But even when you look at Saquon Barkley, a guy who is almost guaranteed to get over 100 yards, he had to get to 25 carries. They had to still heavily rely on him. So the run game, it did crack open at some point, but the Eagles game has never been gotten it up passing. It ain't never been a game. So why all of a sudden we expect them to just go out here against the Packers and just throw pass after pass after pass? No, that ain't it, man. That ain't how they did it, and that ain't how they got to 14 wins like they are at this season. And it's just nonsense to me that people are acting like the Eagles had such a horrific loss when they ended up, act like they had such a horrific loss when they won the game. Wasn't pretty. Every win's not going to be pretty, but any win in the NFL is a good win. And then most of all, they beat an elite defense. Everybody's playing great. This was probably one of the best defensive performances from the Packers this entire season. And again, the stats is not going to tell you the full story. This is one of the things you just had to watch the game, because you look at the stats, you're like, oh, well, they gave up 119 rushing yards. They gave up 169 total. Like, whoa, where's the good defense in that? Come on now, you got to watch the game. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Eagles, man, they advance to the divisional round, and now they either gonna play the Vikings or the Rams. Gonna be great, man. I'm excited to watch this matchup between the Vikings and the Rams. I think the Rams gonna win. It's gonna be tough because, man, it's gonna be tough. Rams are at home, but the Vikings, they are a solid team. They got an elite defense as well. They're good at the run defense. And then obviously we know that offense is very explosive, but it's going to depend on what type of Sam Darnold we see. They finished off the season pretty shaky against the Detroit Lions. So we'll see what kind of Sam Darnold comes out and play against the Rams tonight. So look, man, we got a quick side note. And then after the side note, we'll jump into some news, but we'll be right back in just a second. All right, look, man. So, look, I got a quick side note. And right here, we're just going to go ahead and say our goodbyes to all the teams that's been eliminated. Because, a lot of people and a lot of NFL fans thought that shit was funny when Week 18 ended and teams didn't make the cut, or Week 16 ended and teams didn't make the cut because their team didn't win enough games and couldn't see the playoffs. But now some of those same fans is sitting at home on the couch watching the same games they was making fun of, and the same team making fun of the same opponents that just took them out the league. And if you know what I mean, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Hey, you got beat by Jalen Daniels, and now you know how it feels. I'm gonna just say it like that. That's what I was trying to say. Long story short, that's what I was trying to say. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you sitting right at home with the Atlanta Falcons fans. Everybody watching the same game right now. So let's go ahead and get it started, because there are some teams that got the goodbye in the playoffs. Oh, man, that 2024-2025 season is over for you. Let's get started with the Green Bay Packers. The Packers, man, you finished the season in a fashion that you've upheld all season long. Sloppy, without discipline, plenty of turnovers from Jordan Love, 3 interceptions. He didn't look like the guy that we knew him of last year. And then, of course, man, they had so many simple mistakes that just continued to shoot themselves in the foot and hurt them in the long run, when you could have continued to push forward and actually catch up to the Philadelphia Eagles and win. But you know what? Your season is over. Goodbye, Green Bay Packers. Welcome to the couch. Welcome to the couch with every other NFL fan who did not make the playoffs. Welcome. All right, so another team here. Oh, I'm excited for this one. I've been waiting all night to say goodbye, and congratulations to another season. The end of the 2024-2025 season. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Goodbye. Goodbye. I hope you're having fun watching the game from the couch. Yeah, congrats on winning the NFC South, a watered down division. I know, I'm a Falcons fan, and I'll admit, hey, it was close, but let's be honest. Now you can maybe finally admit, neither one of us really had a chance this season of actually making something happen in the playoffs. And yeah, it does hurt when you lose against Jalen Daniels, doesn't it? Yes, I know the feeling all too well as a Falcons fan, going to overtime and watching him win the game with one drive. I know how it feels. So Tampa Bay Buccaneers, just know your season over, But Atlanta Falcons fans will watch the rest of the season with you. They'll watch the games and all of that stuff. So congratulations and goodbye to your 2024-2025 season. Oh yeah, we're not done. Maybe I'm gonna have to take a break. I need to get a sip of water. Hold on real quick. Yeah, I'm gonna let y'all hear it. I don't even care. All right, so look, let's do it. We got a couple more teams that were eliminated. And you know, this next team, y'all been we had a lot of hope for you in this next team. I mean, I thought you guys were gonna step up and maybe get the job done, but for your 2024-2025 season, the LA Chargers, goodbye. Goodbye. What a great season you had. Oh man, I hope it was fun. Y'all got put out in the first round again. Justin Herbert still ain't got a playoff win, damn it. But after watching him play in that final matchup against the Texans, I think it's safe to say that you can only start to wonder if he is actually the guy for your franchise. Now, I know what Justin Herbert was doing all season. He only had 3 interceptions, but damn it, he went to playoffs and he showed his ass. That boy threw 4 interceptions in one game after only throwing 3 the whole entire season. So you got to question something here. And then, you know what? I'll be honest too. I think the Chargers, you headed in the right direction. You got a new coach, of course. He got you to the playoffs in the first year coaching, which is tremendous. That deserves an applause in itself. But still need some work. You need some offensive pieces. You need some more pieces on the offensive line. Your defense is solid, but damn it, Justin Herbert needs somebody to throw the ball to, and that's the only reason I'm not on here making a case for Justin Herbert to get traded or for the Chargers to try and find another quarterback. It's because Justin Herbert needs some targets to throw the ball to and a running back to hand the ball off to, damn it. Man. But goodbye. You had a great season. I hope you had a fun time, and I hope you enjoyed it. All right, so another team here. Oh man, I'm gonna have fun with this one right here. So goodbye to the Pittsburgh Steelers. You're out of here. I hope you had a great 2024-2025 season. I hope you enjoyed it. Because man, I don't know what you're about to do. Y'all got Mike Tomlin, a guy who's always getting his above 500 record. We know how that goes. But damn it, can bro win a playoff game? What is going on? I mean, it's 8 straight seasons without a playoff win, and what the hell is going on? The last 5 times he's been to the playoffs, he was sent home in the first round each time. One time they were, I think it was 2017 maybe, where they had the bye week the first week, but best believe, as soon as they played football, oh yeah, the Steelers got sent home. So I don't know what's up with y'all man's Mike Tomlin. And I do think it's time to go ahead and find a new coach because, yeah, Mike Tomlin, he always gets you above average, but for an organization like the Steelers, that's just not good enough. Maybe if it was my Atlanta Falcons, that would be okay that we're always having winning seasons and getting to the playoffs. But damn it, I personally wouldn't even want that. So I understand any Steelers fan who's out there saying Mike Tomlin has to go, his time is up, and it's time for change. And I 1000% agree with you. It is time for change. You're a great coach, Mike Tomlin. I think he does a lot of things well, but hey, sometimes the time has come. Not saying he's washed, but the time has come. It's time for the Steelers to look for a new head coach. I don't know who that is, but there needs to be a head coaching change after this season, man. It's been too long, and it needs to be a change. Go ahead, find a way to end your career in another city, Mike Tomlin, because the Pittsburgh Steelers is not it. You continue to end their season short after the first round every time you get there. So, bye-bye. I hope you're having fun watching the rest of the playoffs for the 2024-2025 season. Welcome to the couch. Welcome to the couch, Mike Tomlin. All right, and then the last team here. And this is before the Rams and Vikings. So best believe later on this week, Rams, Vikings. Oh yeah, y'all gonna get a goodbye. One of y'all gonna get a goodbye. I don't know who, but anyway, goodbye to the Denver Broncos. Welcome to the couch. Welcome to the couch where all NFL fans are watching teams who are not their favorite. So Denver Broncos, you know, I will say this about you. I don't have anything bad to say about the Broncos because you showed a lot of promise. You actually showed a lot of promise. Rookie quarterback going to the playoffs and actually gave a good amount of effort, made some good throws. They ended up getting smacked. It just so happened they got dealt the bad end of the stick. They had to play against the Buffalo Bills. I mean, damn it. Like, seriously, any other opponent, they would have been all right. If you put the Broncos against the Chargers, they would have probably been all right. They maybe would have been advancing. But, you know, you got a lot to learn from because this first season looked pretty decent. And I think, this is your first time back in almost 10 years. So this is something to build from. So this isn't a bad goodbye to the end of your season. This is a happy for next year type of deal. I don't think many Denver Broncos fans even expected to get this far in terms of winning games and possibly going to the playoffs. But shout out to them because they did the damn thing. And then now shout out to you because welcome to the couch of watching NFL football playoffs of teams that are not your favorite. So goodbye, man, to those teams. And, hey, fun time, man, fun time. Now we're all sitting on the same couch watching teams that are not our favorite anymore. So goodbye for the 2024-25 season. Welcome to the couch where we all watch games of teams that are not our favorite. All right. Anyway, look, man, we got some news for the run, so don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. It's halftime. All right, man, so let's get into it. News for the run. And just want to let you know, of course, go ahead, shoot us a quick take, 219-413-9405. If you want to go ahead and chime in on any of the news or maybe one of the previous segments that you heard. So go ahead, do that. But starting off with some college football for the news. We got the final championship matchup here, and it's going to be between Ohio State and Notre Dame. So Ohio State, they ended up beating Texas 28-14. And then Penn State, they fell short to Notre Dame. This was a crazy good game, but they ended up losing 27-24. So Notre Dame got the opportunity to advance for a national championship. And man, I'm looking forward to this game here. I think Ohio State wins. Man, that's just a talented team. I think when you go name by name on the roster, Ohio State easily has one of the most talented rosters in college football. So I think Ohio State is going to be the winner of this national championship. And I mean, Notre Dame, you can't sleep on them. Anything can happen. It is a championship game. But of course, man, I think I'm rolling with Ohio State, especially if it was up to me to place a bet or anything like that. Not giving advice, because I know some of y'all probably have no self-control in terms of betting on games and stuff like that. Anyway, so NFL news, some things have been going down with coaches getting fired. The New England Patriots, they've hired Mark Vrabel as their new head coach after firing Gerard Mayo. So Vrabel, he was the previous coach at the Tennessee Titans. And I mean, he's always done a solid job, but it's just, he hasn't really had the talent over there. He kind of built that team up, especially when they had Derrick Henry. They had a solid run getting to the AFC Championship, but just couldn't get it done, man. And I think with the Patriots, they got a solid pick, number 2, I believe, or number 3, a top 5 pick for sure. I think they can definitely make something happen with Drake May as a quarterback and just bringing in some pieces. Obviously, the defense is already pretty solid as well. But anyway, they're not the only team making some coaching changes. The Dallas Cowboys are parting ways with Mike McCarthy, their former head coach, now former head coach. But this is long overdue, man. McCarthy just, I don't know, man. I just didn't really see anything that was convincing. This past season, I will be honest, I don't like the Cowboys, but it was rough because not only didn't they have their starting quarterback, but they also lost CeeDee Lamb for a couple of weeks toward the end of the season as well, and through the middle of the season as well. So, I mean, it's tough, but it needs to be a change. The true problem with the Dallas Cowboys is the owner, Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones got to go. And I had a great friend when I was actually on his podcast the other day. I was on his podcast, listened to it on the Hot Podcast. We were talking about it, and he was saying he don't think the Cowboys going to be good again until Jerry Jones die. Crazy statement, but this is what he told me. He said, look, Cowboys, at this point, he's accepted that they're not going to be good until Jerry Jones is gone because the man just wants too much control over the organization. And he's not the best man for the job at this point in that front office. But apparently everybody sees that but himself. So anyway, the Atlanta Falcons, man, they fired their defensive coordinator, Jimm Lake. Man, this deserves a double applause because we needed to see this. We needed to see this right here, man. The Atlanta Falcons were struggling with their defensive coordinator, Jimm Lake, and couldn't really get anything going on the defensive end. The offense was pretty much saving it. There was a few sections in the season where they were actually doing all right defensively, and the defense held us up strong, and they took care of business and actually helped the Falcons win a game. But in the latest of reports, I'm seeing that head coach Raheem Morris was actually the one calling the defensive plays and calling the defensive sets. So, I mean, this definitely changes the game. Makes sense that Jimm Lake was fired. Also, so just to kind of go through the bracket to fill you in on which teams ended up losing and advancing, I kind of told you what teams lost in the previous segment of you sitting on the couch with me and goodbye for the 2024-25 season. But the Texans, they beat the Chargers. So now the Chargers are eliminated, and the Texans will go on to face the Kansas City Chiefs in the divisional round. The Ravens, they beat the Steelers. The Bills, they beat the Broncos. So this next matchup we have is between the Bills and the Ravens, which is going to be a crazy matchup. Must-see TV. Buffalo Bills, Baltimore Ravens. Man, I don't even, maybe y'all get to pick Thursday, maybe. Y'all might have to get that pick Thursday. I need some time. I need some time to dwell on that one. That one's going to be tough. Anyway, so the Commanders, they beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So now the Commanders, they're the lowest seed in the NFC. So now they're going to go play the Detroit Lions in Detroit. Lions got to face a mobile quarterback. A lot of people feeling scared and not sure, but I think the Lions will be okay because they're playing a rookie quarterback. I think Aaron Glenn tears apart a rookie quarterback right now, especially the kind of sets he be throwing and the pressure that he gets his guys to bring. Anyway, then the Eagles, they beat the Packers. They won that game 22-10. The Eagles have advanced. And then now the winner of the Rams and Vikings will go on to play the Philadelphia Eagles for that divisional round. My prediction so far, I think we see a conference championship game of the Eagles and the Detroit Lions and also the Kansas City Chiefs. And I don't know who else on the AFC. I told you y'all gonna get that prediction later for the for the Bills and the Ravens. All right. Anyway, look, man. So I got one more thing to add too before we wrap up. One of the things you got to hear is I'm glad to see the Atlanta Falcons is finally making these necessary changes. Damn it feels good when a team is making changes in the right direction. So anyone who was previously crying about Raheem Morris, he has to get fired. You know, that's just silly to me. That's just, you just must not be smart. You're not using your brain if you seriously think Raheem Morris should be fired after coaching one season. I know there was big aspirations for the Falcons in this season of possibly going to the playoffs and making some things happen in the playoffs, but damn it, it's just one season. Like, can you imagine if the Lions fired Dan Campbell after his first season, after going 3-13? We won 9 games. Not saying it's great. I want to win more. But damn, he won 9 games in his first season. Second season, I mean, there's a lot more to build from. And then, truthfully, things are going to change as long as the coordinators are intact. We did a good job firing Jimm Lake. We know that was a huge problem all season long. Zach Robinson, he was on a cusp at one point, but then he started to finally pick it up and get it together as an offensive coordinator, started calling some good things. And we definitely seen a huge change when he got Michael Penix Jr. in the game and at quarterback being able to move a little bit more. But this is nothing crazy for a head coach in his first season to go 9-8. Like, are you kidding me? You want him to be fired? Andy Reid was 5-11 his first season coaching in the NFL as a head coach. So you mean to tell me a guy who won 9 games needs to be fired? No. Absolutely not. We're not doing that at all. To me, man, it takes time for things to turn around. Anybody who's out there who's ever even built a team, you know everything has to be solid from head to toe. It doesn't take one guy just to be like, all right, all of a sudden he's a guru. No. One of the traits of being a good leader is being able to identify other good leaders. And as long as you can do that, as long as Raheem Morris can do that, I think the Falcons will be all right. Obviously, we see Jimm Lake. We thought he was going to be better than what he was. He wasn't, but now he's been fired, so we can move on. Zach Robinson, he got it together, so we can keep him as an offensive coordinator. The rest of the position guys, also defensive coordinator or the defensive lineman coach was fired too, but these are changes that's necessary. Because at one point, the defensive line, they were awful. They had a historically low total for sacks as a team. 10 in the first 11 games. And then after Raheem Morris took advantage of the defense and started calling plays, that's when we seen the team go to 31 sacks by the end of the year. From week 11 all the way to week 18. crazy. They they did triple the amount of sacks they had in the first 11 weeks. So, I mean, yeah, it takes time. You got to adjust. You got to make sure you find the right people to put in places. So I don't think Raheem Morris needs to be fired at all. Now, if he continues to have seasons like this, next 3 seasons are like this, or even next 2 seasons, I'll keep it on a short leash. Then, okay, maybe we need to have a conversation about what he's doing as head coach. But as of right now, no, man, they made the right move, firing defensive coordinator Jimm Lake and also the defensive lineman coach. Now, the thing here that I really, really want to brush up on is because a lot of people are concerned. Okay, yes, the Falcons, they fired their defensive coordinator. But now who are they going to get to fill the void? Jimm Lake, we thought he was good. He wasn't. There's a couple targets in here I think people assume are going to be good, but they're not going to be good targets as a defensive coordinator. One of those targets is Robert Saleh. I know he was with the New York Jets. The Jets thrived. They had a bunch of hype on them. They thrived defensively, I should say. But I personally don't give that credit to Robert Saleh at all. He was defensive coordinator for the 49ers from 2017 to 2020. We seen him go to the Super Bowl. And I mean, yeah, you can make an argument for that 49ers defense at that time being decent, but to me, Robert Saleh is not a guy who's really going to throw different schemes at you defensively and help your team win. That's not it. The credit I want to give and the guy I want as a defensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons is Jeff Ulbrich. I think this dude, the defensive coordinator for the New York Jets, deserves to be a defensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons because the Falcons, yes, I know, they didn't really have the glorious stats to showcase how much talent they have on the defensive end. And they did have some injuries. But I think with Ulbrich and seeing what he did with that New York Jets defense, I would love for him to go to Atlanta and make a similar thing happen. He also worked with Raheem Morris in 2020 on the Atlanta Falcons on the Atlanta Falcons staff when Raheem Morris got moved to interim head coach after Arthur Blank got fired. Or after Arthur Smith got fired, not Arthur Blank. But I like him in this move because he's proven to be a solid defensive coordinator. Jeff Ulbrich has proven to have elite defenses and elite schemes. So I want to see him in Atlanta as the defensive coordinator. When he was in New York, he was top 5 in yards allowed for 3 of his 4 seasons as a defensive coordinator. Robert Saleh can't say that because he wasn't the one controlling the defense. Not many other defensive coordinators can say that. And I think this is a guy where he may try and go for some head coach positions, but I don't think many people even want to linger around New York, and Raheem Morris need to call up his old buddy and say, hey, go ahead, come to Atlanta. We got a spot for you as the defensive coordinator. They got to make that happen. That's who I want to see as the Atlanta Falcons defensive coordinator. Someone who's already proven he has elite schemes and connect with his guys. Because they had Sauce Gardner, who came in early, showed out big time. They also had a multiple defensive linemen who showed out early in the past 3 years. And guess who was the defensive coordinator? Jeff Ulbrich. So that's the guy I want. If not Jeff Ulbrich, I think another dude who could be helpful. He's not my first candidate, but I still have him over Robert Saleh, and I still think he would be a great candidate for the Atlanta Falcons defensive coordinator. Steve Wilks, man. He spent a lot of his time in the league as a defensive back coach with the Carolina Panthers, and honestly, he's been around the league for a long, long time. But I think he also has a lot of value to bring because he has that veteran experience and that veteran presence. He was also the 49ers defensive coordinator in 2023. And that's the team that also went to the Super Bowl. I've seen some solid schemes thrown at the Chiefs and on that Super Bowl journey, even when they played the Lions in that AFC or in NFC championship game. So I think Steve Wilks is also another guy where I would accept him as the Atlanta Falcons head coach. He also has the Atlanta Falcons defensive coordinator. He also has a relationship with Raheem Morris as well. But number one option is going to be Jeff Ulbrich, for sure, without a doubt. So I think the Falcons, they're decent talent-wise. They just got to find the right guidance for their guys on the defensive end, man. Obviously, we still want to add talent, without a doubt. You never want to just go, with teams being okay with what they have. You want to try and definitely draft one of these elite defensive linemen that we see either with Penn State, Georgia, somebody, man. So we got to draft somebody that's elite. I think we had pick 15 in the draft. So it'll be interesting to see, man. And I'm excited for the offseason. I'm excited for the moves that they'll make. Obviously, we know Penix is going to be the starter going forward. Offense looks pretty decent. moving forward, and I'm happy with that. But anyway, look, man, I'm gonna leave y'all with the positive note here. And for this positive note, I'm just gonna say, let's see where I'll go with this. Okay, yeah, I'll say, when you lack patience, you become petty. And I think I said this before, but maybe you need to hear it again. Who knows? When you lack patience, you become petty. So make sure you have patience and make sure you're sitting still and waiting, yet still eager and hungry, actively trying to seek out that opportunity. But you can't get petty. You cannot get petty. You gotta have patience, or else you're gonna start doing petty things, trying to find a way to cheat the grind or whatever it is you're trying to work toward. So when you lack patience, you become petty. I'm gonna just leave it at that. Other than that, man, look, that's all I got for you. I appreciate you for kicking it with me this whole time. Damn it. Man, if you've been listening to this whole time, you listened to the full episode, like all the way through. Oh my God, man. I rock with you. You family. And look, I'm gonna tell you this. You definitely shouldn't be scared to send this to somebody, cousin, a brother, an aunt, an uncle, a niece, a nephew, a coworker, friend, anybody. Just say, hey, check him out. He got a dope episode, or he got a dope podcast. Just go ahead and send it their way. I promise you, nobody's gonna mind. Worst case, they just won't listen. I mean, who cares? Whatever. Other than that, man, look, that's all I got for y'all. So I appreciate you tuning in, of course. And we'll be back later on this week, and so on and so on and so on.